Welcome to the Brave Parenting Podcast, an examination of the Bible and how parents can apply God's Word to raising children in a culture saturated with media and technology. Hello, friends. Hope you are doing well as we come up on Thanksgiving this year. I want to tell you how thankful I am for all of you brave parents who listen and are doing just the hard work of raising kids in this culture to still love and obey our Lord Jesus Christ. I know I'm recording this just in the middle of a busy season of travel and speaking. And if you're new to the podcast, I want to tell you I've just loved meeting you, so many of you, hearing your stories, and really just your willingness to dig in your heels and stand strong against the childhood screen takeover is really what it is. And so, this ministry is not about me at all. It's about our kids. It's about the kingdom work that we have all been created to do for such a time as this. So I just want to thank you for doing that hard work and for tuning in so you can stay abreast of everything that is going on in this culture. So today we're going to be talking about our beloved app, Snapchat. A few months ago, they released a new digital safety course for teens. So I went online and took the course so I could better understand Snapchat's approach to safety. And what I basically found was they're just covering their own butts in regard to their platform design, because it's the design really that leads to so many of their safety issues. So I went through this course and I've kind of just have a highlight for it. And then after I kind of go through some of these highlights and really what's fundamentally wrong with the Snapchat app design, I'm going to talk about some recent news and headlines and where Snapchat is heading. And of course, I will end on telling you why, of course, your children should not be on this app. But nonetheless, it's important to understand the app so that you can give good reasons to your children why you are not going to allow it. So let's talk about their safety course, which is called The Keys. It's called A Guide to Digital Safety. So Snapchat states, quote, "This program aims to educate teens about 4 key risks they may face online: bullying, illicit drug activity, nude and intimate images, and sextortion, and teaches platform-specific skills for helping to stay safe on Snapchat," end quote. Okay, so right off the bat, it's like this. They're like, hey, listen, here's all of the terrible things that's happening on our app: bullying, drug sales, sharing nude and intimate images, and sextortion. But hey, we still want you on our app, so we're just going to offer you some tools to navigate around these, life-altering dangers. It's crazy. They just put it right out there. And in the introduction video of the safety course, Evan Spiegel, the founder of Snapchat and CEO, states, "We care deeply about safety on Snapchat." Now, that's just a really hard pill to swallow, Evan. Seriously, given the continual harm that has been done over the last 14 years, it is really hard to believe that you care deeply about safety. I think it's probably true that you care about not getting sued for the lack of safety. And if you have not seen the social media harms documentary, it's called Can't Look Away, you really should make a point to watch this. It was a recommended resource back in August on the Bullet Points newsletter, which if you don't subscribe to our monthly newsletter, you should also make a point to do that. But I'll put a link in the show notes for both the documentary and the newsletter. But in the Can't Look Away documentary, they highlight Snapchat as the first social media platform that has a lawsuit against them that's actually moving forward in relation to the death of a teenager who acquired a fentanyl-laced drug through the app. Now, before now, every social media app has claimed immunity under Section 230, which claims that platforms are not responsible for the content posted on the app. So someone who may have died because they saw suicide content, they can't hold TikTok or Instagram or whatever accountable because of Section 230. Well, the Social Media Victims Law Center is using sort of like a loophole to Section 230 And they're suing Snap based on the dangerous design of the app, that it's purposefully suggesting and connecting users with drug dealers, and that its Snap Map feature facilitates the delivery of drugs to a teen's doorstep, all without parental knowledge. So yes, because this lawsuit is advancing, I think this is why this digital safety course has come out. I'm pretty sure that Evan Spiegel and his team at Snap cares deeply about not getting sued out of business. But the safety changes that they've made, such as teens ages 13 to 17 supposedly not being as easy for strangers to find, it's really more talk than game. If there's one mutual connection with another user, they can easily be found. And drug dealers, they just know exactly how to get around this supposed safety protection. Okay. So anyway, I'm getting a little ahead of myself, but it's important background information as to why they actually care. I think it's because they're getting sued. But let's get back to the Keys safety training. Now, I guess I should say that I do want to be charitable and say that it is refreshing that they do offer clear warnings about topics such as illicit drug sales and sextortion. And they also point the user that's taking this training to report unwanted spread of intimate images or nudes through the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children's Take It Down portal. So that's good. I'm glad that they're at least telling people to report these through the Take It Down portal so it can be taken off. Now, with that said, and, of course, from Brave Parenting's biblical worldview perspective, that emphasizes parental authority and biblical discipleship, and honestly, just courageously delaying and limiting online media and technology, there are several points of contention where this course just glazes over true safety concerns. So I'm going to go through 5 points. And the first one is the ephemeral by design. Now, this is my biggest beef with the app. It's the disappearing content. Now, in the Keys digital training, Snapchat emphasizes that chats and snaps generally delete by default in order to, quote, mirror real life. But secrecy and impermanence do not mirror real life at all. Like unless you have amnesia, right, or you're suffering from dementia, which that is not a preferred thing to suffer from, right? People remember conversations for longer than a day, right? Stuff that you have conversations about, you don't just forget the next day. We live in a world where our memory is not erased after 24 hours. So to say that it mirrors real life is just a really lame excuse, and I think a cop-out of why the app was made in the first place, and that was to share nude pics of girls and then have them delete. Now, biblically, this feature of the app really opens the door to Satan. Like Proverbs describes a man without self-control to be like a city without walls, that's exactly what Snapchat is. It's this communication app without personal accountability. The secrecy and ephemeral nature of sharing, it just encourages impulsivity and it invites exploitation, right? Without any walls of protection, no self-control is required by any user. So it's an invitation saying like, come, pillage me. That's in relation to that proverb. And sadly, that's actually what happens on this app. Now, my second point of contention, and they state this outright in the safety features, is that parents cannot read your messages. So in this safety course, Snapchat talks up their family center as like the greatest win-win for parents and kids. Parents get to see who their child's friends are. And then it says, however, parents cannot read your messages or see your snaps. Well, that line is really important and revealing. For a company that claims to care deeply about safety, it's incredible that they don't allow parents to see their kids' messages or snaps. I mean, not even for young users ages 13 to 15. They're essentially marketing, hey, this app gives you privacy from parents. like it's a product feature, while at the same time, they claim that they're continually involving parents. So the digital safety course repeatedly encourages the teen to tell a trusted adult if they come across concerning or harmful content. Honestly, it's like adults and parents need their own training course to know what to do when a teen shares with them some harmful content they've seen. Because what is a parent or trusted adult going to do if that content can no longer be seen, verified, or reported because it's disappeared? Or because the kid doesn't want to show you right then, and since parents can't see any of it without their kids showing them, it doesn't work at all. The bottom line of Snapchat's Family Center's claim to involve parents is just a ruse. They don't allow transparency, so they undercut parental authority that has been assigned by God. As a parent, you cannot monitor Snapchat by design. That's how they actually want it. Just knowing who your child's friends are may mean nothing if you can't see what they're communicating. Okay, and the third point of contention I have with this safety course is that stranger danger is minimized by mutuals. Now, I mentioned the Snap's teen safety measures earlier. Snap says that minors are harder to find unless there are, quote, several mutual friends, and that it's going to show an in-app warning if the mutual friends are low. The problem is this in-app warning can be bypassed. You can just bypass it, no problem. And of course, the next problem is that the sextortion rings and the Snapchat drug dealers routinely manufacture mutual connections, right? They're not stupid. They know exactly how to play this system. So while this safety course touts that mutual connections are a type of protective shield, if you will, it's not often true, right? Mutual connections are often the bait that lures kids in, as they think, well, I guess I probably know this person. I just can't remember from where, or it's my friend's, friend's friend or whatever. If we think biblically about this, I think about Peter's admonition in his first epistle for believers to stay alert and sober-minded because the devil prowls around like a roaring lion looking for someone to devour. This app makes it really hard for a teenager to do just that, to stay alert, to stay clear-minded and fully aware of their surroundings and even watchful for bad actors or evil people. Because by the design of how Snapchat's created to make these connections through mutuals, it's extremely difficult to just constantly stay alert and to know intimately each person that you're friending, because that's just not the nature of what happens on Snapchat. Okay, moving on to number 4, and that is location sharing is presented as comfort. Okay, if you don't know my opinion on location sharing, if you've not heard that before in another podcast, I'll briefly share that I don't think it's healthy for the child or it's even biblically right for constant location tracking of parents or children between each other. I don't have time to go into that all in depth, but I can link to the other podcast where I talk about that. So naturally, because I don't think that location sharing, even between friends or parents and children, is the healthiest thing to be doing, I despise the app features like SnapMap that allows teens to not just feel like they might be missing out on something, but to then actually know that they're missing out when they see their friends together on the map. Having this type of location information only breeds comparison and competition, jealousy, and drama. But in the course, the safety course, SnapMap is pitched as a fun way to meet up and, quote, give peace of mind that someone got home safely. Now, there is so much I hate with the empty promises of peace of mind that is offered by apps, and they are primarily offered when it comes to location tracking. But just knowing someone's location should not actually give you like the peace, at least the peace that Jesus Christ offers, right? He is the Prince of Peace. Knowing someone's location doesn't mean that you know what they're up to, doesn't mean that you know that they are actually safe. It is a lie that these can actually give us peace. Peace cannot be produced by an app or a live location sharing map. Not only that, but location trails are what stalkers and other bad actors use to carry out all of their evil deeds, right? This course, what it does is it offers you this like toggle off and friend list in order to keep you safe. But it's like, if you know there are clear dangers that need safety measures around offering everybody's location, why offer the dangerous features at all? Or, here's an idea. Why not just not allow it for minors, for those who are on the app that are under 18? Now, granted, I know that kids can lie about their age, but at least make an effort to say, hey, we know that this Snap Map feature has created a lot of crimes. You can just Google like Snapchat and arrest, and you can find an incredible amount of articles across the country of kids who have been groomed through Snapchat. And because of the Snap Map, they have actually been found and sexual assault or kidnapping has actually occurred. So it's not just an online problem. It becomes a real life physical crime because of the Snap Map. And again, they start the conversation off in this digital safety course of Snap Map. They're talking about how it lets your family and friends know that you're home safe, removing the need to send a text. Well, we know what this is. We've talked about this before. This is a reduction in friction. And anytime we're reducing friction and we're making things that much easier, especially when it's displacing relational conversation and relational contact, then it's a problem. Now, granted, that text that says, I'm home to someone, it isn't necessarily like embodied communication. You might not be calling them to say, hey, I made it home safe. You are just sending a text, but it is a sign of respect to the other person, as if to say, hey, I value you enough to keep you in mind and remember to text you when I get home, instead of just having Snapchat send you a notification saying that you got home safely, right? The more technology's frictionless features take over these small but significant human tasks that demonstrate, I think, character and the value of relationships, the less and less human we all become. So all in all, the Snap Map is not a positive feature like they present it to be at all. It's not comfort. It's not peace. It is more danger, and it's less embodied. Okay, and now the fifth point of contention that I have is that they talk about Snapchat having, quote, low stakes. Low stakes. So in the About Snapchat videos on this Keys digital safety course, at the end, they're interviewing like random families and siblings or couples about how Snapchat has changed their life for the better. Now, there's a dad and daughter, the engaged couple, the brother and sister, all of them repeatedly celebrate the app as, quote, authentic and human. And of course, my favorite, they call it low stakes way to connect. So it's like in the same training course, like literally within minutes of each other, because the course is not that long, they're teaching you about fentanyl overdoses from buying drugs on the app and sextortion rings, to then call it low stakes. So it's like, is it really low stakes? Clearly not. Again, it doesn't take a very hard Google search to just find all of the articles that Snapchat has been related to criminal activity. Okay, so those are my concerns with the general, the safety course in general, but that reveal the hidden dangers of the design of the app. Now, again, don't get me wrong. I guess it's better that they created it than had they done nothing, but I feel like it is a little too late. 14 years into this and so much harm having been done by Snapchat, it's a little too late. I think all in all, when I see these kind of like digital safety courses, especially from the big tech corporations, it's like saying, here are all the risks and here are all like the toggle on and offs and report buttons when you need to block someone, or if you need to turn off a feature, or if you need to block some bad content. They don't actually fix the root problem of the app's design. All they're doing is providing Band-Aids for the already bad design that's causing harm. And they're saying, hey, if you want just a little less harm, here's these kind of safety features. All in all, it's just garbage. But now, so that's the basic design of Snapchat. But Snapchat is changing. And so I want to talk about some of the app's new features, design features, and where the company Snap in general is going. Now, perhaps, due to the rise in conversations about having phone-free childhood, delayed access to social media, there's lots of people talking about this nationwide, that when Snapchat released its second quarter earnings this year in 2025, it reported a decline in U.S. users and lower than expected revenue numbers. Now, Social Media Today recently reported on the, quote, difficult path forward for the app, noting that it's the smallest player in the social media market that's competing with Meta and ByteDance, which owns TikTok. So according to a Business Insider article that was published back in September titled, Snapchat and Instagram are starting to chase the same growth strategy. So in this article, the CEO, Evan Spiegel, he published an open letter that was sent to all of Snap staff. And he stated in this letter, which was reported by Business Insider, he said, quote, historically, friend stories served as one of our most important conversation starters, creating a spark that turned a story reply into a chat and a chat into a deeper friendship. Now those conversations are being sparked in new ways, particularly by Snapchat's short-form video feed called Spotlight. Okay, so instead of chatting with their friends, the users on Snapchat, instead of chatting with their friends about their own maybe stories or pictures that they're posting, Snapchat users are now using influencer videos as conversation starters. So Evan Spiegel says, quote, we need to embrace this transition fully and make it effortless to share Spotlight content in stories and chats. Okay, so Spotlight is like their Reels or their YouTube Shorts or TikTok videos. So it's the short form video. And Snapchat's goal is to reach 1 billion users on Spotlight. So according to Spiegel, that means that they have to, quote, adjust our ranking system to prioritize sharing and conversations around Spotlight, end quote. So he also says that Snap's going to be developing more conversation starters, such as new status updates, to spur on more connections in the app. Now, one of those updates was just announced this week, and it's a new feature called Topic Chats, which allows users to participate in a public conversation about popular trends. So now this makes a big difference in the kind of app design of Snapchat, because even though Snapchat has always been focused on like private conversations, because they are trying to grow Spotlight in order to compete with the big dogs of TikTok and YouTube Shorts and Instagram Reels, they are now allowing public commentary on trending topics. So that's a huge change for them because, again, they're going to be just like their competition, having public conversation, public discourse, sort of in that comment culture that's on TikTok or that's on X. Now, a little while back, on September 14th, Snapchat announced another feature to the app, changing it also significantly, and that it was the addition of infinite retention and group streaks. And that was in order to drive ongoing engagement and to cater to group chats inside the app. Okay, so what infinite retention is it enables users to actually save their chats, clearly steering away from what they've been really forever known for, which is that ephemeral content, that disappearing content. According to a press release, Snapchatters have been asking for this feature for a while. And so with this addition, Snapchat then is going to operate now much like every other DM platform. So whether that be like Instagram DMs or Facebook Messenger or WhatsApp, basically you can DM and you keep your conversations. So there's not going to be a whole lot different, again, between Snapchat and the others. And the group streaks that was also announced. Now, that is just another source of psychological gamification in the app, really. It's streaks for group chats. And honestly, its entire purpose is just to keep people coming back to the app, which we already know that's what Snapchat thrives on, is these streaks, which is just psychological manipulation. It's all garbage. So now they're doing that for group chats. So basically, what you can see that's happening is Snapchat is trying to be just like everyone else, to try and compete, because they're losing money. They want to be just like TikTok. They want to be just like Instagram, just like YouTube or X. It's going to be all about, especially this short form video and in-app DM conversations. Now, I want to pause, and I do want to talk about short form video for a second, because I came across this, and I think this is really telling. According to the 2025 State of Short Form Video report that was put out by a company called Metricool, it's a global social media management platform. They say that short form video represents 82% of all global internet traffic. 82% is all short form video. Naturally, it's considered to be the most engaging format for marketers, right? So everyone who wants to bank on your attention by serving up video ads, they're going to use short form videos. Like, no one's going to watch a long commercial anymore, right? And the report also cited that the average TikTok watch time has fallen to 3.75 seconds. So that means that creators and marketers have less than 4 seconds to hook their audience, which is crazy. Okay. So 82% of global internet traffic, this is what this report says, I'll link it in the show notes, is short form video. So this is clearly where all of the internet is going. So let me just summarize that then. Snapchat is not making enough money. They're not making the revenue that they expected. And of course, they have shareholders that they have to make happy. So of course, they need to pivot in order to focus on something else to make more money. And of course, that's going to be short form video, which of course is not about connecting with friends as life happens, as they say, right, to mirror real life. But short form video is nothing but about consuming content. And when the content is funny or intriguing enough, of course, Snapchat will enable you to share it seamlessly with your friends that you're friends on Snapchat with. They're also going to throw in some features that Snapchat users have been asking for to essentially just keep you on the app, because that's how they make money, is when you stay on the app. Well, perhaps that wasn't enough. These changes weren't enough to appease their shareholders, because just this month on November 5th, Snapchat announced a $400 million deal with Perplexity AI. According to the Snap press release, quote, Perplexity's AI-powered answer engine will let Snapchatters ask questions and get clear conversational answers drawn from verifiable sources, all within Snapchat, end quote. And then Evan Spiegel says, quote, our goal is to make AI more personal, social, and fun, woven into the fabric of your friendships, snaps, and conversations, end quote. Oh, man. Man, oh man, if AI isn't already too personal and too fun for people, my goodness. Okay, let's break this down, what this means for your teen who wants to be on Snapchat. And most likely, they're saying that they want to be on Snapchat because that's how they're going to communicate with their friends. That is the reason that teens will give as to why they want to be on this app. They want to connect with their friends. But we have to recognize, based on all of these news stories and the design features of Snapchat, those connection points with your friends and your peers that you're having, you're woven into the fabric of your friendships, those conversations don't make them any money. So this is no longer Snapchat's priority, right? They're going to continue to offer those free features, but at the same time, they are going to change the design of the app so that they can psychologically change how you use it, right? They're going to maybe bombard your teen with prompts to start scrolling in Spotlight or talk with its AI bot, right? They don't actually care about your child's friendships, right? What they care about is keeping your child's attention, to keep their eyes, their mind, and their heart engaged on this platform, because at the end of the day, it's only about money. They have to sell your child's attention to advertisers. That's just the bottom line of the attention economy. They aren't going to make advertising dollars through Spotlight if they have only, say, 1 million active monthly users, right? Advertisers want to see hundreds of millions of users spending the majority of their time on Spotlight content. That is how they're going to make money. So Snapchat, again, it's going to allow you to message your friends, but if you're not like paying for the Snapchat Plus account, if you aren't spending time with the AI bot or in Spotlight, the app may get really annoying, because when it comes to most young people, we know exactly what will happen when they're prompted to do something different in the app. They might ignore it for a little while, but the more they're prompted to do something different inside the app, well, they're going to. They're going to go, chat with the bot, or they're going to tap on Spotlight. They're going to jump over there. They're going to scroll. They're going to, ask questions. They're going to do whatever it's telling them to do without giving it a second thought, because it's already captured the affection of their heart. They already feel that it's like their life, that this is their friendship, that this is their entertainment, this is everything, because that's the way that the app is designed. And here's why this matters so much, because again, Snapchat does not care about your child's friendships or sharing life as it happens. They care about making money, which is why they accepted $400 million to incorporate Perplexity AI. Snapchat already had an AI bot that you could chat with, right? Its avatar was pinned to the top of your friend list unless you paid for a subscription to have it moved. Like, very few people liked it. And whether or not they engaged with it or not, they already had an AI bot. And now they're upping it even further. So don't think that this is like, oh, my kids won't have any friends, or they're going to be left out of the loop of social activities because they don't have Snapchat. That's a lie. That's such a ruse, because the real concern, it isn't friend-to-friend communication. The real concern is that they're going to be fodder in Snapchat's attention economy. They're going to become enslaved to addicting short-form video content that adds zero value to their life, perhaps adds dangerous content, psychologically manipulating them type of content, whether it be disordered eating or suicide content, drug use, right? The real concern is also that incorporating an AI chatbot to make it more personal and more social and more fun will just further isolate teens from human connection. They're going to be deceived by this hyper-personalized and overly accommodating chatbot. We've seen it. It's everywhere right now. These chatbots are not good for kids. And it almost seems unfathomable that a platform known to have a predominantly young user base would incorporate an AI chatbot and have the audacity to call it personal, social, and fun. I mean, we're just months out of stories about teens taking their lives because they lost themselves deep and within a personal AI. So to announce this with like bright-eyed hope that Snap's AI will be different among its 100 million users than Character AI was or ChatGPT is just naive. It's not even naive. It's asinine. It's just crazy that they think this is going to be different. Now, with that said, here is the good news. You now, if you've made it to this point, you now have so many great reasons to delay access to Snapchat. You have so many good apologetic reasonings to provide to your children, honestly, straight from the CEO of Snapchat, to say that they are focusing on content discovery rather than connecting with friends, that they're focusing on generative AI because they need to make money. And when you can present these reasons to your children, like there is no way we can allow this because it's not about communicating with your friends. That's not what makes them money. This app needs to make money and they're going to exploit your attention for it. So there's no way I would ever allow this app, especially with AI rolling out in January. The last thing that young people need is an easy portal to AI, an easy portal to addictive short form video, easy access to just the false reward of streaks, all of it by design. It's all garbage. There's no reason to allow children to use this. We've got to take back our kids' communication and get them to use phone calls and text messages, anything else other than Snapchat. Now, as I wrap this up, what I really want you to take away is also that the difference, of course, is between what the world says about digital safety, online safety courses, digital citizenship, and all of that, and biblical discipleship is wisdom. This is the difference, because both safety courses and digital citizenship courses and discipleship, what they're all going to say is, hey, here are all of the risks and concerns. But the safety courses, they just say, here are some Band-Aids to fix what's wrong. Here's how you can cover up the bad content that kind of gets across the safety nets and goes before your eyes. Here's how you can report it. But what discipleship says, it says, yeah, here are all the risks and concerns. Now, here's wisdom. Here are healthier alternatives for communication. Here are safer ways to engage digitally with other people. Walk in this way. Consider Christ and your purpose to glorify God. That's what we need to be doing for our children. It's not just, let me put some Band-Aids on this, let me put some parental controls and just allow it so that I can keep you happy and we can keep our relationship going. No, you have to draw the line. This is not okay at all, and you need to present them wisdom. Snapchat promises connection and friendship, but it delivers a lie, and our children need to know that. It is never true connection. It does not build deep and meaningful relationship. We know this because of its fruit. And we know that by their own admission, they are not in the business of fostering real, deep, meaningful relationships. They are in the business of making money off of your attention. So if your teen is on Snapchat, I strongly encourage you before the end of this year, 2025, because the AI will go live in January 2026, to sit them down and explain your concerns. If you need to, repent of even allowing it, because honestly, you probably shouldn't have. So repent, saying that was my mistake, I didn't know, and describe how you want to move forward by not allowing it anymore. Encourage your child to be the one who rallies the friend group to all get off Snapchat, right? It'd be much easier if everyone did it. If you need to talk to your friends' parents so that they can have the same conversation with their kids, then do this. And I get it. If you have like a 16 or 17-year-old, I mean, your fight is going to look a little bit different than if they're 13 or even younger, if you've allowed it younger, which I hope you didn't. But if you did, right, they need to get off. But if they're 17 and you haven't had a conversation about AI relationships and the danger of relying on AI to be your authority, now is the time. Now is the time. I know a lot of parents, it gets really hard at 17, and a lot of parents just kind of throw their hands up in the air and consider it almost like a lost cause because, they're young, almost young adults. They're, you can't really tell them a whole lot. They're almost out of the house. Let me tell you, as a parent of young adults, that every effort that you make to point them back to truth, to point them back to what is good, right, and beautiful about our lives as image bearers of God on this earth, every time that you can just encourage them to do the right thing, it is sowing seeds. They may not recognize your wisdom now, but I guarantee you, when you do it in earnest love, to just plead with them that you do not think that this is good, right, and true, that you're concerned about it, that AI is a valid concern, and that having that easy of access to it through Snapchat is a danger, I do believe that they will come to respect and honor your attempt. They may not listen right now, but it is not about immediate gratification. It is about sowing seeds so that even if they don't listen right now, maybe they will in a month, maybe they will in 6 months, and you can make some progress, but you've got to have that conversation immediately, over Thanksgiving, over December. Have it soon if you have not had it yet. All right, friends. I think that is enough Snapchat for one day, for one episode. I would love to hear from you. If you have any thoughts or concerns or stories that you would like to share about Snapchat, you can email me at podcast@braveparenting.net. And I will be back next week with another episode. And until then, go and be brave.